She began by imagining something old. That's usually how she got started. Something old, something mysterious, something beyond reckoning. In this case, an old temple of some kind, the front largely open to the elements, the back stretching away into hidden chambers where the old ones used to practice their secret rites. Who were the old ones? She had not a clue, but it did send shivers down your spine, didn't it? The temple had been hewn from the rock of the mountain itself. The front had taken millennia to carve out, while the back was simply let to disappear into the vegetation. The whole thing was draped in ivy and vines. They grew through the cracks in the floor and entwined themselves through the walls. It was clear that no one had been here in a long time. In fact, no one had ever been here at all, considering that she had just thought of it 5 minutes ago. But if she said that people had once been here, that they had committed grim and gruesome sacrifices to a long-dead god, then it must be so. Not that this temple or any former inhabitants had anything to do with this story, but she can't help herself. Her mind is an infinite expanse inward, constantly creating, building, discovering. Often she feels more like a conduit for worlds rather than a person of her own. That's why she was here right now, on a very different journey than the one she'd undertaken before, even if she didn't quite know it yet. She shouldn't have been giving so much detail to this place. It was only a backdrop, after all. As fun as listening to your endless internal monologue is, love, I think we've all got places to be, so let's get started, She turned, and there he was, leaning against a column. He was dressed to fit in with this world she had created, bartending slacks replaced by large boots and a heavy cloak. Here he would go by an epitaph in order to mythologize himself as some sort of trickster figure, but she simply called him by the name that she knew best. Cowell. How did I know you'd be here? He saluted her. I'm everywhere. Isn't that the whole idea? The one constant in an ever-changing wash of Freudian thoughts and masks? I wouldn't put it like that, she frowned. Maybe ideas and characters? Oh, but my description is so much more fun. He pushed off his column and walked slowly towards her. So what are you doing here? It's unlike you to venture to a place so desolate. Looking downwards and pursing her lips, she thought for a moment. I needed to capture a feeling. To get to a certain place. Ah, yes, that melancholy you chase so fervently. He grinned. Old places work the best, huh? More than anything else. And why this desperate desire for sad old things? She had a sudden urge to gaze outside of this small temple, to imagine what surrounded it. I wanted to get away. She shrugged as she squinted out into the clouds. It's much better feeling someone else's sadness. There's a sort of distance to it. Real angst just sucks, but I need to feel something. Maybe real angst is exactly what you need, Cowell suggested, leaning in her direction. Ignoring it won't make it go away. I'm not ignoring it, she refuted. I've thought about it plenty. I'm just waiting. Waiting? For what? For friends? For people to start listening? You do know you're not going to get those things by waiting for them, right? That's not how it works. She threw up her hands. Well, what do you want me to do? I've tried, okay? I've tried for so long. I don't think there's anyone out there at all. She didn't move, but all the same Cowell could feel her fighting tears. Sighing, he patted her awkwardly on the head. I think it's high time I show you something. You? Show me something? She asked. Not possible. An odd look developed slowly over Cowell's face, a sort of mysterious grin, as if that had been exactly what he'd wanted her to say. Really? Is that true? What if I were to tell you that if not? Then I'd be seriously wigged out. Prepare to be wigged. He leaned down to her height conspiratorially. You still don't really know what I am yet, do you? You're a demon who sometimes acts as a walking plot device. He shook his head and led her out to the balcony overlooking a field with not much detail yet. She'd fill it in when she could actually concentrate. Not quite what I meant. Right now you think of me as a mere agent who carries your plots forward when your characters won't do it for you. Hence, you know things when it's convenient for you to know them. It's slightly more complicated than that. He gazed at her to gauge her reaction. Suffice it to say that I know more than you do right now. She began to look a little disturbed. Okay, I'll admit that you've always almost seemed to write yourself, but this is a little bit weird. It'll get worse, but that's besides the point. Now, shall we see what's really outside this temple? She frowned at the strangeness of this whole conversation, but then begrudgingly did what he said. A field stretched out far into the distance. Ancient ruins towered through the mist, strange places just waiting to be explored. And now I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is a colossal ripoff. Shut up. It's a thought exercise. It's not like anyone's gonna see this. Cowell's eyes widened comically. Yeah, about that. What? Never mind. Anyway, what would you say if I told you that just behind that hill over there is a very special place? Well, I'd say you were, she began, before following his outstretched finger and then freezing. There it was, across the field. A very large, round hill. Wait, I didn't put that there. How did you do that? She turned back to Cowell. Do what? I didn't do anything. Put that hill there. If I didn't, then who else could have? Dunno. Maybe magic. Should we call it magic? There's no magic that can just create things. How do you know? I don't. He shook his head. As fun as this inane bickering is, there is something over that hill that you really ought to see. Sighing, she drew the cloak that she had just imagined for herself tighter around her. All right, fine, but whatever it is, you'd better hope it's good or I'm fucking discarding you. I'm very terrified of your wrath, he giggled as she began walking, and slowly ambled after her. And, of course, you're coming with. Wouldn't miss it for the world. Cowell beamed, largely to spite her. I do love a good road trip, all that self-discovery and bonding, if you know what I mean. I do, and I hate it. Well, if you hate that, you're going to hate them. Them? Ah, but that would be spoilers, wouldn't it? I think you'll just have to wait and see.